Good morning. It's time for our November share fair. My name is Tracy Helt. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia, and I'm your admin for the Asia Pacific region. We're very happy to be here today. Melbourne is extra happy because we've been out of lockdown for a week after being in lockdown from the 4th of August. So we're really happy. Now, let's get on to my card today. And I'm starting off with the products, or the main products, because you're probably all thinking, what's going on with me? Because didn't I use the same stamp set for the last share fair? So yes, I did. And if you're wondering if it's the only stamp set that I own, no, it isn't. But it is my favorite stamp set from the new mini catalogue, so I'm using it as much as I possibly can. But our focus for today is on punches. So I knew that I wanted to use the daisy punches, and I needed something that was going to form the base of those punches. So let me show you my card and you'll understand what I'm saying to you. So, ta-da! There's my card. Isn't it fun? Now, I did change it. I'm going to show you what my original card looked like, and I'm sure you'll see why I wasn't happy with it. So that was the original. I didn't like the face and I didn't quite know what to do with it. And then I wanted to change the DSP and the colors as well. So if you like that, we'll put that aside. But I decided that I was going to use the flowers from the stamp set. Now, this is a fun fold card, so it's going to open like that. And I'm so excited that you're excited to see the card. This is such fun. Right, now, there are lots of pieces in this card, and it is quite labor intensive, so I have prepared some stuff in advance, but I am going to very nicely show you how we do everything. And I will put all the measurements into the description when I'm finished, so I'm not going to go through measurements while we're working, but they will be there for you to have. I've got every single one written down for you. So I'm going to start with the stamping. Oops, and I might just throw my ink while I'm doing that. So this is just a scrap piece. This is my little rectangle that I've cut out from my Stitched So Sweetly dies. And with my Memento ink, I'm stamping the skirt part onto my triangle. I'm trying to line it up so that the shoes are close to the stitching. Okay, and then we're stamping the flowers onto my scrap. Now, you could use the other lady. Oh, let me throw some stuff at you. So you could use that one, but I wanted the dainty shoes to go with it. And that's all our stamping done. If you're wondering why I don't have a sentiment there, it's because I haven't decided what I want to do with the card yet. So it could be a birthday card, it could be a get well card, it could just be a hello thinking of you card. So once I know what I'm doing with it, I'll put a sentiment, and I would probably put a very little sentiment, like just on one corner, so that it doesn't detract from the rest of the card, because that is quite busy. So with my grey granite blend, I'm just going to colour in her shoes. You could colour in her legs if you wanted to, but I decided I'm leaving the legs blank. And with my dark crumb cake, let's try the other side. I know that it has a mark on it which tells you exactly which is the thin side and which is the fat side, but I always pick up the wrong side because I just want to get straight into it without looking. Okay. And with my light old olive, I'm going to just put a bit of green behind, and you can see I'm not being very precise about this. It's just going all over. I just want that green that's going to be in the background. And then we're going to cut out our flowers. Now, I always feel a bit like Dr. Frankenstein here, where I'm cutting off her arms, and we just want those flowers. And here I'm not being too precise around, I'm just going roughly around the edges. Okay, so there's my flowers cut out. I'm going to put them aside for now. We're going to get back to them later, but I'm going to start working on my lady. So with my big daisy punch, I'm punching out a daisy, and I should have enough paper here. I measured it. There we go. Now I have cut out another couple of daisies so that you wouldn't have to watch me doing all of that, but I want this one to start as my base, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm cutting it in half. I want that straight line for the skirt, and then I'm going to cut off those two end petals. Now the reason for that is I could stick that there, but then those two side petals are pointing too far to the sides. So if you like it like that, then you can do that, but I'm going to cut those off. And we're going to cut the rest of the petals. I know I'm being terribly mean today. We're cutting petals off daisies and cutting arms off bouquets, and should have been a doctor. All right, now with those daisies, what I've done is I've cut out the small petals, the small daisy rather. Okay, so the medium daisy punch, and I've cut those daisies up as well, so I've got the smaller petals, and I've punched out my pale papaya shimmer vellum with the smaller daisy punch, and we've got those as well. Okay, let's start building the skirt. So I'm putting a little bit of glue on the top. While I'm doing this, I'm always, that was not a little, I'm always gluing at the top. Okay, so we're trying not to put glue on the bottom of the daisies because I'm going to build the skirt from the top down, but working underneath. And then we're going to put some glue here and put a petal. And so right now I'm starting with the big petals, and then I'll go and fill in with the little ones. Okay. So underneath where I can see a gap. Now don't be too concerned about filling in every little white space, because like I said, we're going to go and we're going to put in the shimmer vellum as well, so that's going to give us that sparkle to the dress, and we all know that sparkle is very important, but it's also going to fill in any gaps that we have. So don't get too stressed out. We want it covered, and you can see the reason that I'm using the stamp is that it then gives me the shape of my skirt so that I know what I'm working with. If you've got a good eye and you can do it without having the stamp, then go for it, but there's no ways that I was going to be able to do that. So I needed something to guide me with the shape of my skirt. Clearly I'm not a very good seamstress. I could never make clothes because unless I had a pattern, I wouldn't know how to do it. So we're just going and building up our skirt. Now you could make it as long as you wanted. I don't want it to be too long because I like her shoes over there. Oops, we obviously got some glue stuck. There we go. No, you're way too long, so I'm going to use one of the little ones there. And here, there's no rules. You just have to go and fill it in and make it look like a skirt that you're happy with. Now I'm going to start putting in some of the little petals to fill in some of the smaller bits that need something. So I want one over there and some along the bottom. And no, this isn't a straight hem, so it's okay if it's a bit wobbly. I think I'm happy with that. And now we're going to add the sparkle. So we're putting the shimmer vellum, and that again I'm just putting here and there wherever I think we want something sparkly. Let's have some on the top. And I'm not trying to line them up in any way. They're not lined up and they're not sort of falling necessarily in between. It's just wherever I think I want a little bit of sparkle, because we all know that I love sparkle. Sparkle makes everything better. Okay, so while I'm doing this, let me tell you about our show special this time. We've got a really fun show special. It's one that we've had a similar one before. We've got a single tutorial, which is a really nice fun fold tutorial, if I say so myself. So single tutorial, and then everybody's done a card using the products that they're demonstrating today in that tutorial. So place your order with the demonstrator that invited you, and as an added bonus, you will get a copy of that tutorial. And I can assure you, you're going to be wanting to make lots of those cards. Okay. I think I just want one more sparkle on this side. And we'll hide that stamped line at the same time. There we go. There's my skirt all made. Right, now I'm going to start with my flowers. So what I've done is I've gone and cut out a whole lot of these little flowers with the tiny little flower from the artistic dies. Now here's where I said to you, it is a bit time consuming and labor intensive because you need to cut all these little flowers. But if you do all your cutting in advance and then assemble, then you're going to be fine. Now I've kept one flat. So what you want is you want something a little bit spongy. This is the mat from our Stamparatus, but you could use your Stampin' Pierce mat as well. And you're going to want to take a stylus which has disappeared. Okay, I'm going to see if I can do it with the tip of this. So you just want to run your stylus, or it works with the tip of your picker tool, into the middle so that it causes the flower to pop up and gives it a little bit of life. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see there? It's sort of given it a bit of, makes it look like it's bending and flowing. Then what you're going to do is, so what I've done is I've got that, and I've got these ones where I've taken some of my shimmer vellum and I've stuck it onto the pale papaya cardstock, and then cut it out and done the same thing. So those are the shimmery ones. And all that you're going to do is take your flower, put a tiny little dot of glue, and stick them around on. Okay, now we have all these petals that have decided they're feeling rejected and they also want to come into the card. And of course my fingers are all full of glue. Okay, so you're going to just stick your little flowers all over as you want, and you then have your finished bouquet. Now we can start assembling the card. I've got my card base in Evening Evergreen, and we've cut off a piece. Like I said, all the measurements will be up for you. Then I'm taking a piece of my DSP. Now this time I've used the same DSP as I've used in the skirt. If you want to use different DSP, you can do that. I just like to have everything matching. So we're going to stick that on, and you'll notice when I give you the measurements, I have made these pieces slightly bigger than usual because I just wanted a tiny little edge around everything. Then this is silver from the silver specialty pack. That's the one in the mini catalog, and you get the 3 different color silvers. The one is quite dark, it's almost like a slate gray, and then going to the lighter silver. So we're sticking that on the base over here. And then I've got my flap. So now you do want to give this a good crease because otherwise the card is going to pop up. And it's going to be going like that. So make sure that you're sticking it the right way. You don't want your card opening backwards or not opening, as the case may be. And this is going to line up exactly with your silver piece. And we're just trying to eyeball that it's roughly in the middle here, top and bottom. My piece of green DSP, and yes, I'm still using the hand penned DSP. Don't you think it's beautiful? There we go. And again, we've just got that very narrow border around it. I got some glue over there, but I will clean that off afterwards. Now I'm going to stick my flowers that they're sitting just on top of her skirt. It does go slightly over the edge of the rectangle, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't matter. We don't want it poking up too far, but a little bit is fine. And we're going to pop that onto dimensionals. Just because it is quite a big piece, I like to give some extra support on the sides as well. Okay, so from the reactions that I'm getting, it seems like, even though it's a little bit of work, we're all going to enjoy being seamstresses and making flower skirts. It's fun, as long as you've got all your little, if you don't want to do all these little flowers, then just color it in. It doesn't have to have all the little flowers. And lastly, my bow. Now, what I did with this bow is I tied the two ribbons together. So I've got the pale papaya and the evening evergreen, and I've tied them both together. We're just going to take a glue dot there, and hopefully I'm going to be finishing this roll of glue dots sometime soon. I have ordered a new one, but I just have to finish them. And hopefully the new one will be rolled the right way so that I can finally stop complaining about my glue dots going the wrong way. So we're going to stick her bow down. And then the last thing that we need is the insert for the card. So I've got another narrow strip of that DSP, which I'm going to stick along the bottom. And this can go inside. And then, like I said earlier, you can decide what sentiment you put with it, or it can be blank and you can just write a note. I know that we always like putting sentiments, but nothing says that you always have to have a sentiment with a card. And the last thing that we need, of course, is some more bling. So I've got my little basic rhinestones, and we're going to just pop a couple in some of the flowers. Now, you can decide how many of these you want. The first time I did it, I was going in just about every flower, and then I decided, no, that looks like it's a bit too much. So just a few need some stones, and of course you've got the shimmer vellum to add some sparkle as well. And there we go. That's our card done. So I'm happy with that. Now, next up, we're going to have Annette. Her cards are always amazing. I always love what Annette does. And then we've got Julia. So I think that everybody always has something lovely. We've got such a lovely group of girls here who are so creative. I always want to make absolutely everything when we're done. Remember that all the projects will be put into an album with the video links. So if there's anything that you want to see, then you can just go to the album and you'll find the card and the video link, so you don't have to scroll through hundreds and hundreds of videos. And keep making your list. If there's anything that you want to order, wait until the end of the share fair, because I'm sure that that list is going to grow, and go back to the demonstrator that invited you to the show. So I will catch up with you again once we're finished with Arlene for a quick chat and sign off from Australia. So Arlene, Annette's up in 5 minutes, and I will catch you later. Enjoy all the presentations. Bye for now.